Today is Saturday, July 9th, 2022, and this is the beginning of the 2-day 125th anniversary celebration of North Buffalo Lutheran Church here in Kragnes Township, Minnesota.
To lay down and die. That's what I've always heard. When you know everything, it's time to lay down and die. That's a long flight.
There's a lot of people that don't know nothing that are slow.
All ready?
Uh-huh.
Looks good. I don't know if I want to eat that yet. Probably better put some heat on that first.
So. Yeah, just a little.
And you did your stretches so you can walk that whole cemetery in a half hour here.
I'm not walking.
You're not walking?
I did that with you the first time.
That's true. You were my guinea pig. You and Nancy.
Let's get back at the grill here.
You know, put this in this back closet.
Schultz's, where did they live from you? Charlene and they lived over by the jail, I think. I think they had a walkout basement, so they flooded.
That was next to the next to them was a poor couple. He died before the flood. Or no, maybe it was just after.
You did mention beans. As we were actually on the cart, she said you got beans, you got this, you got
Let me just set it here for a second,
Yeah.
and we can move it. She's got all of her chromosomes and all of her genes, but a couple of them are on the wrong chromosome, and that makes her susceptible. She had a vasectomy the first time. But the one also. And just before we say
Warm those up.
I just turned them on.
Did you? Okay,
And I got them straight.
heat them up and
Yeah, I did both, and I didn't see any season salt, so I made it.
the burgers are.
They are seasoned.
Tim, I mean, actually, I made you a lot. We did, yeah.
Yeah, I made a homemade season salt. Little garlic powder, little extra powder.
sometimes she goes to San Diego.
She's still able to work.
Yes, but she just retired this last fall. She's one of the partners, so she's still has some responsibility.
Hector got her with the grand course, and she came up there. We were talking about Margaret. And Cindy asked me how long ago.
No, we're not saying for today.
Yeah,
We got-
cancer.
Okay,
Yeah.
you're just for
It's gonna go home this break.
Okay, I understand.
We'll come
Seems
tomorrow.
like forever. And
He's got a spray one.
I said, you know, she was about it.
Thanks to everybody for coming today. I didn't expect we were going to have a crowd this big. I'll try to talk loud. The reason we're starting here in this corner, and actually before I get ahead of myself, if anybody has any other stories they'd like to interject or questions to ask as we navigate here, feel free to jump in. So the reason that we're starting in this corner here is because behind this big headstone here is Peter M. Tufton, died in 1912. Him and his first wife, Olgard, who's a little bit down here, donated the land for the church and the cemetery back in 1894. And unbeknownst to many of us until recently, the cemetery predates the church. And so incidentally, some of these earlier Tufton family members were the first burials. We think that Olgard was the first one in 1895. And then the church was started in 1896 in a schoolhouse right across the road. And then in 1897, they built a church in the middle of the cemetery here where the Memorial Gardens is now. And then after the church moved into the cemetery Cemetery Association, which had been started, seems to have disbanded, and then the church took ownership of everything and took care of it for the next 115 years. And with us today, do we have any descendants of Peter Tufton here with us? Raise your hands. I see Larry over there. So the Tufton farm is still occupied by his descendants. Lost my place.
It's okay.
I didn't even need this for the first time. Another interesting fact about the cemetery and church was when it was originally named, it was called North Buffalo River Church and North Buffalo River Cemetery. We have no idea really how or why the word river was dropped, but it seemed to just kind of happen gradually over time, so then everything just became North Buffalo. And the only other cemetery or church that seems to be named North Buffalo in the country is in Buffalo, New York. It's somewhere in Pennsylvania. And so pretty unique name. And then I guess if we want to start walking this way here, hopefully you all expected to walk when it said cemetery walk. If not, my apologies. Yes, sir. Hey, Ronnie. Good to see you. So the first burials in the cemetery, I said, were Tufton family members. And then you probably wonder, well, who is the first non-Tufton family member to be buried here? As far as the records show, it was Martin Walter Tangen, who died in early 1895. The Tangens had a farm that was just a little bit north of here. And they were also some of the earliest settlers of the Kragnes Township. Is Andy Overland Tangen. He was killed in the battle of World War I. And his body was actually buried in Kragnes, and then a few years later, there was a large portion of soldiers in the cemetery he was buried in that were disinterred and shipped back to the United States. So I found a newspaper clipping that said when he was shipped back about 2 or 3 years after he had passed, they had a funeral for him here and finally laid him to rest along with his brothers and eventually the rest of his family. Next person of interest here is Louis Larson. He was one of the earliest burials in the cemetery, probably the 6th or 5th or so. When he passed away, his parents lived on a farm not too far from here, and they were charter members of the church. Their names were Thor and Trina. And sadly, they moved back to Norway shortly after they helped found the church and had to leave their young baby here. So he's the only member of his family likely buried in this country. Now, this part, according to the map that we inherited that was drawn about 45 years ago, supposedly there are a great deal of unmarked graves here, in case you're wondering why there's kind of a break in the lineup. And these, for whatever reason, when they started the cemetery, these are kind of the oldest 2 rows. they put the gravestones on the west side of the grave and had them face west so that everybody's buried east of them. And then if you go further back, most of the time, running, they wondered where he went because he jumped out so fast. Okay, I guess we can I'm going to come to the back of the pack here and we can turn around. Descendant still occupies their farm. And then besides a lot of charter members buried here, incidentally there are a lot of descendants of charter members buried here too. Jeanette Erickson, she was a descendant from the O'Rourke family. Are there any O'Rourke relatives here? She must be coming tomorrow. Let's see. I guess we can keep walking this way here. Where some more of the early and charter families of the church are buried. The Sunbees were also one of the first families to join after the church was organized, but they weren't charter members. I don't know exactly where they lived, so certainly in the vicinity of the church. The Wenzel were charter members of the church. Father Jacob Wenzel, I know he's got some descendants here, the Tuftons, and interestingly enough, the Ladies' Aid also predated the church and was organized a year prior too. So maybe they helped get the men into gear to get the church organized. So the reason that we've got so many old graves up against some new graves here was at one time there was kind of a horseshoe-shaped driveway or walkway, you might call it, that came through here. And once space for available lots was starting to run out, they ultimately decided to sell the walkway into lots. And so incidentally, a lot of people in this row here now are Carl and Sylvia Larson. They were newcomers to this place at one time and ended up belonging here for probably about 50 to 60 years. I think they belonged here and joined here in the late 1940s, early 1950s. Sylvia was a historian for many years, and a great deal of the materials we used to put this on were only possible because she was saving them. And then I guess that nobody threw them out either, too, but mostly we thank her for saving it in the first place. And somebody can correct me if I'm wrong about this. I had heard a story. Carl was a relative of Dorothy Powers and Dennis Odegaard. I had heard somewhere along the line that maybe I thought he was supposed to come over from Sweden to the U.S. on the Titanic, but ended up coming over on a different ship.
I'll make a comment here. Moorhead was celebrating one of the centennials where we were all growing beards. And Carl said it changed my whole personality. So we were at a Bible camp, and I had the kids shave my beard off, and I sent it to Carl.
So, Ricky here, the Ericksons, also ancestors.
Well, if you're around, it sounds like, I mean,
they went to church.
not the last 2 years.
I'm not sure if tonight's was
I'm sorry. When I was sitting with my elbows on
those darn sisters. Yeah, you have a nap.
I know.
Yeah, And my twin
Wanda doesn't have film in that, does it?
It's just a figure of speech.
Yeah, I kind of thought
Is there somebody who's saying?
half his.
The only time we ever did that was Christmas. Christmas, yeah. And that was so fantastic. Really like
I thought I was close enough. You don't want to look at that all the way in your camera, do you?
Yeah, just sit off to the side or something.
Thank you.
hymn that we're just going to be singing the first and last verse of each hymn. Most of the hymns we'll be singing tonight will come out of the green LBW hymnals found in front of you in your hymnal racks, and then a few of them will come out of the red ones that say the other songbook. There aren't as many of those, but there should be enough for everybody. So, yeah, so we'll get started.
I don't think your mic's up.
Oh. So you need me to repeat all that. I can hear it, John. I think it's just quiet. Pastor Murphy will. It's on. Oh, that's on. Can you hear me now? Yeah. So we'll be singing the first and last verse of each hymn, and most of them will come out of the green LBW hymnal in front of you, and just a few will come out of that red paperback one that's called the other songbook. So, and I won't announce each hymn. If you can just follow along in your bulletin, and we'll start with Holy, Holy, Holy.
Holy,
everybody for coming, and we'll see you bright and early tomorrow. If you care to be part of the choir, we'll be rehearsing at 8:15, and otherwise signing in, registration, pre-church visiting, etc. starts at 9:30. Church is at 10:30. Lunch is going to be at 11:45 noonish, and then our program will be at 2 in the afternoon. So thanks again for coming.
Whatever you're doing with them, we're going to have a popcorn at a church. Rabbi